I wriggled free of my mother's warmth at midnight, emerging into a narrow den carved beneath an ancient acacia's roots. Damp earth pressed against my ribs. The air smelled of musk, fur, and fear. Around me, 10 littermates squirmed. Thick-bodied, fierce-jawed, all hungry for the same milk. I was fragile, ribs visible beneath tawny fur. At the feeding hole, snarls and snarling jostled me backward. A stronger pup shoved me into the wall. I whimpered as the den's floor trembled with excitement. My first breath taught me my place. Weakness is condemned, and from day one I would have to fight for every scrap, if I was to survive. Weeks later, before the horizon blushed pink, the den yawned open. My brothers erupted into the golden grass, hips swaying, tongues lolling with eagerness. I panted behind them, my paws sinking in dew-slick blades. Adult noses flicked at my fragile flank, disapproving grunts pushing me aside. No gentle greeting, no corrective nudge, only impatience. As the pack glided off in perfect line, I hesitated, consumed by an ache colder than night. The morning sun felt like judgment, its warmth a reminder. I belonged nowhere. Inner voice. Why does the sunrise promise hope when all I feel is empty space? Excluded from coordinated hunts, I retreated into shadowed grass. By moonlight, I watched lions feast from a distance and darted in to pick at scraps once they departed. Hyenas howled at carrion, but left behind slivers of sinew too small for them to bother with. I discovered a hidden water hole where no one else dared drink, quenching thirst without risk. Each scavenged bite plumped my ribs and steadied my paws, but no triumphant howl celebrated my cunning. I was sustained by necessity, the ghost of a wild dog keeping itself alive in the dusk. At 8 months, hunger proved the greatest teacher. I followed distant hooves across the plain until a lone impala strayed. Heart-pounding, I studied the adult's pattern, drive prey toward ambush, flush them into the open. With a wild beat of adrenaline, I broke from the shadows, jaws snapping as soft flesh. The impala staggered in shock, blood spattered my muzzle. Yet before I could savor victory, lion roars echoed in the distance, and adults veered back to defend their territory. Chewing half-eaten muscle, I realized even success could feel hollow when your place in the pack remained unclaimed. That night, under a crescent moon, I vowed to master the art of the lone hunter. I observed jackals trotting along termite mounds, learned how they slunk through reeds, muzzle low, tail stiff. I practiced weaving through thorn trees, pausing when dust swirled, exploding forward to snatch hairs. With each kill, my confidence soared, but my solitude deepened. I became a phantom across the savannah, skilled but always watching the horizon for the pack's familiar shapes, hoping for a nod of acceptance that never came. One dusk, drawn by a fresh kudu kill, I crept to the edge of a clearing. A lioness reclined amidst the carcass. My paws froze, jaws clenched. But when the hyenas stampeded in, circling the great cat, instinct seized me. I barked, charged nip, ping at her haunch. She rose in surprise. I darted away, then lunged again. Hyenas yipped in confusion and backed off. Within moments, I'd driven off one of nature's greatest predators. Panting in the fading light, I realized the pack, watching from a ridge, no longer saw me as nothing. I was a force. Inner voice. In the face of a lion, I stood my ground and found my roar. At dawn hunts thereafter, I moved with the pack's flank, not in perfect sync, but no longer a ghost. They accepted me, but only just. I flinched at sudden growls, mindful of rank. I learned to walk the delicate line between courage and caution. Approach too boldly, and the alpha's lips would curl. Hang back too far, and I risked exclusion once more. Yet in the shared feast under acacia shade, I tasted both acceptance and the unspoken distance that still set me apart. Over seasons, our pack weathered drought and flood. I saw the alpha female cradle her litter beneath kerosene skies. I nursed broken limbs and shared Q's kills with injured mates. We slept curled in a circle, tails covering each other's faces against night chills. I learned that hierarchy bore tenderness. Even the lowest-ranking Omega received first licks if fallen ill. My exile past taught me fierce independence. My pack showed me the power of interdependence. The day I guided alpha pups in their first hunt was sweeter than any solo kill. I led them through camouflage lessons, pressed close to termite mounds, freeze when crickets chirped, strike when their tiny hearts beated fastest. Their churls and tumbles were my testament. I had become the link between lineage and legacy. Each lesson I poured into them chipped away at my memory of solitude, replacing it with purpose. But beyond nature's trials lurked human dangers. Poachers laid snares along riverbanks. Domestic dogs carried plague. I watched two mates fall to fever, then to a trap's steel jaws. Our territory splintered by roads and fences. Hunting corridors collapsed. In response, I breached farm fences under moonlight to warn the pack of traps. Though my coat was shot through barbed wire scars, my spirit burned. My years of exile had taught adaptability. In these battles, I taught the pack caution. Over the years, half the pack perished to drought or bullets. Yet each rainy season saw new pups tumble from dens. I felt the same thrill and terror I once knew, teaching them to dodge gathering storm clouds and track fresh spoor. We moved as one through endless plains, sinew and memory entwined. My muzzle grayed, my steps slowed, but my heart still raced at the sight of breakthroughs. A successful den relocation, a rare lion deterrence, a pup's first triumphant pounce. At 10 years, elder by surviving pack standards, I no longer hunted. I lay beneath marula trees, the sun a warm hand on my flank, watching young dogs bound across dust-choked grass. My wounds ached, memories twinged like old drumbeats. Yet when danger came, hyenas closing in on a den, poachers' distant guns, I roused myself, a twitch of muscle enough to rally the pack. Even in twilight, I retained my roar, inner voice. My body may weaken, but my spirit remains the sentinel of these plains. One last dawn, I rose and joined the pack's departure. As the sun painted the sky in bloody gold, I closed my eyes on memory's savanna. Hungry whimpers in a cool den, the sting of rejection, the thrill of hunts both lone and shared, the quiet pride of teaching new life. My last breath mingled with those of my pack, no longer an outcast, but the guardian whose exile had shaped every lesson. Our story is not just mine. It belongs to every wild dog fighting extinction. Here's how you can help us live on. Restore wildlife corridors. Reconnect fragmented habitats so packs can roam and mate freely. Fund anti-poaching patrols. Equip rangers with training and technology to remove snares and apprehend poachers. Vaccinate domestic dogs. Halt deadly diseases like canine distemper from spreading into wild populations. Share our tale. Spread awareness on social media. Support conservation NGOs, and inspire others to join. From the smallest runt to the eldest guardian, every wild dog teaches us that no one is beyond redemption, and no life should be left behind. Stand with us today, so future generations can hear our howls echo under African skies. I was forged by exile, reborn by courage, and sustained by unity. Let my journey remind you. Together, we can ensure no pack endures rejection again.